Thank you, Dave. It's a famous name in New Orleans dining, and now one branch of the Brennan family has a new restaurant in the French Quarter. Ian McNulty, the food writer for the New Orleans Advocate, is giving us a look inside of Ted Brennan's Decatur.
Oh, Sheba, this has been a really interesting story to watch.
We've been
watching it develop for a couple of years. Now, you mentioned the Brennans. They're a big family. I think most people who follow New Orleans food know there's different branches of that family, and they run different restaurants around town. They have different restaurant groups. We're talking about Ted Brennan's Decatur. This was started by the portion of the family that once ran Brennan's on Royal Street, the landmark, the famous restaurant. They don't have that anymore. A different branch of their family has it, and they've done amazing things with it, frankly. Brennan's on Royal is going strong. It's now a very contemporary restaurant. Well, the Ted Brennan's family just opened Ted Brennan's Decatur, and this is around the corner on Decatur Street. As you can see, it's different from the old Brennan's, but it redials a lot of the old traditions, and probably most importantly, it brings a lot of the same people together who worked together for so long on Royal Street. Now, Ted Brennan's, of course, is named for Ted Brennan, who tragically died last summer around this time, far too young. But his family, his son, daughter, and his wife, they rallied and they've carried the torch and really kind of made Ted Brennan's Decatur into a tribute restaurant to what their father taught them and distilled in them all these years.
Really cool. All right, so what'd you eat there?
Well, I dropped in on their first brunch. So they just opened this week, and they've been doing sort of a soft opening with some limited menus. But of course, you're going to start with some of the classics. Just take a look at that dining room. This is a big, long room, and you're only seeing half of it here, Sheba. Upstairs is loaded with the succession of private dining rooms. People will recognize some of the art, some of the color schemes from the old place. But here's something very new for this idea of a Brennan's. This big, long bar. It looks like a saloon or a tavern back there. So you can drop in for a more casual meal. That's
nice.
A little more modern, and that kind of underscores what we're talking about here. This is a restaurant that deals with traditional French Creole flavors, but is doing it in a slightly more modern, casual way. It's the next generation's read on some of these things.
I think that's really cool.
But highly respectful of their traditions, and that starts, of course, with their turtle soup and garlic bread, splash of sherry over the top. You just have that, and you know exactly where you are. Very nice. The drinks there, the brandy milk punch, the Mr. Herman champagne cocktail. This is how I finished my brunch. This was a split of the egg sardou on one side and the Bayou Bengal on the other with that andouille sausage under poached eggs.
This looks delicious.
You just take a look at that and you know that's traditional French Creole cooking. But like I said, it's the story of a family, and it's the story of these people coming back together again to start something new. When we talk about people working together at this restaurant, sometimes that goes back decades. The chef here is Lazone Randolph, who has been with the Brennan family since the 1960s.
Wow.
And he's at the helm now, and I can tell you from interviewing him that he's really raring to go and show what they can do there. Really
cool. Anything on the menu that you wanted to taste that she didn't get to?
Well, yeah, they're doing their soft opening this week. Next week, they're going to roll out the full menu. So when I think of Brennan's, I think of crab meat. I think of cocktails and eye openers too.
That too.
Let's say the next time we go back, it's going to be cocktails and crab meat for sure.
There you go. I like that one. And I love that they're mixing that new style with the old, because you do see a lot of the younger people who don't want to go sit down for a fancy meal anymore.
Well, that's true. This is definitely an upscale restaurant, very ambitious, but it definitely has that younger generation's read on it. You can just go and have a seat at the bar and just give it a quick look if you want. That's a great way to scout a restaurant these days.
Perfect. All right, glad to hear you like this one, mix of the new and the old. All right, guys.